Hey everybody, this is Fred from Amahiru, Kreator, Sinsanum and Loud Blast, and you're listening to Thunder Underground.
Welcome to episode 309 of the Thunder Underground podcast. Trent and Jason here as always. And this week we've got a great one because we've got Fred Leclercq from Kreator, Amahiru, Sensanium, and formerly Dragon Force. Did you ever think we'd have someone from Dragon Force on this podcast?
Never.
No. I didn't even, even Kreator as well.
Right, yeah.
But Dragon Force is one of those bands we were both on board with from the beginning, and pretty cool here all these years later.
Yeah, God, we saw them like in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
God damn.
At the Diamond Ballroom.
Like, when was that? 2006 or 5 or some shit?
Yeah, around that time.
God damn.
I don't even remember. Was it that Inhuman Rampage tour or was it the next tour?
No, it was when they were fucking blowing up.
Yeah.
Guitar Hero. Everybody and their fucking mom loved them.
Yeah.
Remember they opened with like 2 chicks bouncing up and down on a trampoline?
Yeah, to Rain in Blood.
Yeah, to Rain in Blood. Yeah, exactly.
That, of course, sticks in your head because it's Slayer and 2 chicks jumping on a trampoline.
Yeah,
so that's one of the intros of a concert I'll always remember.
Right? Well, it's a unique intro, that's for sure.
Yeah. But yes, that's the past now, though, because he's no longer with them.
Right.
He's now with Kreator and his new band, Amahiru, which we're going to talk a lot about here in this interview. And we're also going to talk about a plethora of other things, I think.
And probably the first French guy we've had on the podcast, right?
I think so.
See, firsts everywhere.
Something else we need to talk about is a Finnish guy. Right before our last episode came out, the world lost Leclercq.
Yeah.
That's another huge loss in the metal world. When you think of mainstream music or just obviously mainstream household names, the name Children of Bodom or Leclercq, sorry, I always say Leho. But anyway, Leclercq isn't a household name when it comes to the mainstream. But when it comes to heavy metal, this guy is as household as it comes because he's easily one of the best that there's been in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
As far as guitar goes,
Yeah, he, out of all those bands that came out of that era, then that area, in the mid-2000s, which, all those bands were definitely there before. But, when it hit the States and it was being a big thing here, In Flames, Soil War, Dark Tranquility, Bodom Children of Bodom were always in the conversation. And Leclercq was always on the cover of the guitar magazines.
Yeah.
And that's one of the indicators, everyone loved this guy's playing. He was on Steve Vai shared that cover of, him and Zach and Leclercq on the cover and the big round table discussion. And so he was in the picture there for a little bit. It's a huge loss, and what a talent. And he was very, very seldom do you see the singer is also the lead guitar player.
Right.
So that was kind of a cool thing, too.
That's true. And his voice was so unique that even if you weren't like a diehard fan, you could always instantly know who that was.
Yeah, definitely.
Kind of like you said, around that time, whenever we started getting into all that stuff, that kind of Scandinavian metal that was making its way into America finally, they're one of the ones that definitely jumped out to me.
Yeah.
And Are You Dead Yet was around that time.
Yeah.
Just everything that these guys did was great. And I was really looking forward to hearing the music that Bodom After Midnight was going to do. And I, from what I read, I think they already had stuff recorded.
Hopefully.
So I'm sure we're going to be hearing that in the next, this coming year, more than likely. But yeah, for those of you that weren't aware, Bodom After Midnight was the band that Leclercq was a part of now because of, I guess, a contract dispute as far as the name goes. Children of Bodom with some ex-band members. But so hopefully we'll hear that sooner than later. If you've never heard their cover of Jesse's Girl, check it out. It's fucking great.
Remember they did the Britney Spears song?
Yeah. Well, and they also did a cover of She Is Beautiful by Andrew WK.
Yes.
And they also did a cover of Talk Dirty to Me.
Yeah, they did. Didn't they do Somebody Put Something in My Drink by the Ramones, too?
I forgot about that if they did.
Right.
They did down on the corner? Or up around the bend by
I'm not sure.
By Credence. They did one.
Can't
No,
remember.
Looking Out My Back Door. That's what it was.
So, I mean, we go on and talk about other covers.
Yeah. Children of Bodom, if for some reason you've been in the dark for the past 20-some years, do yourself a favor and look into them now. That's kind of always the thing that people joke about whenever someone dies, is that there's an uptick in their music sales or interest in them, which is always a sad thing, but, hopefully, music lives forever, so.
Right.
This instance will bring some new fans around. All right, now we should get into some sponsors. DEB Concerts, promoter based in Tulsa that has brought a lot of killer acts to the downtown Tulsa area at the BOK Center and the IDL Ballroom. They also booked the Roadhouse stage at Rocklahoma. The show on December 12th with Lita Ford was recently canceled, but if you like Lita Ford, no worries, because April 10th, downtown Tulsa, outdoors in front of the IDL Ballroom, Queensryche will be performing with Lita Ford, Nita Strauss, and the Bullet Boys. Very cool lineup there. You can get all your ticket info, debconcerts.com. Follow them on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram as well. We, of course, will keep you up to date on any other new additions to their calendar or any other reschedules as well. So keep it here and follow DEB Concerts. Hell Hot Hot Sauce is a hot sauce company located out of the San Francisco Bay Area that makes small batch artisan hot sauces. You can check out their entire product line at their website, which is hellahothotsauce.com. You can also follow them on their socials. Both Instagram and Facebook are at Hella Hot Hot Sauce. They do a lot of collaborations. They've got a couple with some metal artists, like Ghoul has a sauce called Brain Jerk, and Florida Frank from Hatebreed has a sauce called Florida Frank's Florida Heat. We've got a lot of that, and it's excellent stuff, but it'll burn your insides pretty good. So if you're interested in hot sauce, get on hellahothotsauce.com and check out what they've got. If you're on the West Coast, you can find them in a lot of stores out there as well. But get on there and tell them we sent you. Sunset Tattoo. It's a tattoo shop in Midtown Tulsa. Their tattoos are done good and proper. They're state licensed. They are mother approved. Jake and his crew have over 25 years of experience. They do excellent work. You can see photo proof of all that work on their Facebook, which is Sunset Tattoo Tulsa. Their Instagram is also at Sunset Tattoo Tulsa. If you give them a call or shoot them a message, you can set up a time to get over there, talk about what work you want to have done. If you contact them, check them out, tell them Thunder Underground sent you. And finally, Med Farm is a dispensary in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, 24683 East Highway 51, right off the highway. Can't miss them. Huge selection, and you can check it all out at leafly.com. They've got a drive-thru. If you call ahead or text ahead, they'll have your order ready right when you show up. So that's very convenient. They also give 30% of their proceeds to build no-kill animal shelters, which is a pretty badass cause that we're very happy to talk about here. If you also mention Thunder Underground, they give you 10% off your first order. They're always running other specials as well. So if you follow them on their socials, MedFarm is PHARM on Facebook and MedFarmOK on Instagram. You won't miss any of that stuff. And a huge thank you to MedFarm. All right, before we get into some Frederick Leclercq talk, we've got a couple other things to talk about. First off being, what's your favorite Bad Wolf song?
Oh, man.
Second off, what's your favorite Ice Earth song?
Hey, I thought we weren't going here.
I'm just asking you what the songs are.
We had a discussion, drunken on my part last night. It got a little weird. So I'm not saying shit. Damn you for bringing it up.
No.
Now I don't feel bad. Fuck you.
Beforehand, before we're recording this, we actually recorded a couple interviews.
Right.
We should throw that out here with the band out of Denver, Colorado called Bound by Years. And the vocalist for a band out of California called Red Voodoo. Both young bands that are doing great things. We'll be bringing those soon. But before that, we had a discussion about this.
I'm glad I brought another beer in here. Mother dick.
And you're right. I think it's something you can easily talk about without getting into a political discussion.
Yeah, because it gets, the Bad Wolves department of it is way less controversial,
right,
than the Iced Earth part of this conversation. Obviously, anybody that keeps up with this kind of stuff knows that, Bad Wolves, Tommy Vex kind of clashed with the rest of them over the summer with, the George Floyd Black Lives Matter movement and all the protests and this and that and whatever. And so I think that was like the start of it probably. And then right before the election, Tommy Vex came out as a Trump supporter, wore a MAGA hat on his Instagram, so and then now after the attack on the Capitol, it totally fell apart. So
yeah,
they just said, yeah, you're out of here.
But to that point, your first instinct, if you've followed this, you might not know that Tommy Vex has, most notably was a part of Divine Heresy.
Yes.
And then he's been a part of a few other bands. Snot for a brief minute.
Snot, yeah.
And it's like the ongoing trend has been he gets relieved of his duties within a couple years or even less of being in a band. So it's like, is there some kind of underlying clash that's always there regardless of political values or views or whatever you want to call them?
Exactly. So there's probably stuff we don't even know.
And there's been other recent charges, which I'm not even going to mention because I don't know if they're true.
Right.
Which could play into this. And on the Instagrams of all the band members, the drummer, John, formerly of Devil Driver, mentioned that there's way more to this than the surface of what you think it is because we don't have the same political view.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But regardless, it's kind of interesting because it's a young band that, had made some noise and,
it made a lot of noise.
And was continuing. I think I kind of thought they were kind of on a trajectory where they were going to get to that next level.
Mm-hmm.
It's still possible, but it always hurts when you change a singer. It's been done, but the cases of it being done successfully are a small percentage,
Right.
And
but also here's something: if there's ever a time to do it, it's now, because no one's touring. So it's like there's not really momentum anyways to fuck up. So
true. Yeah, and you got if you replaced a singer here in the next few months, then you've got months to kind of get him indoctrinated into people's minds that this is the vocalist now.
This is the way we're headed, yeah.
Instead of just someone showing up to a show having not paid attention.
Right.
And be like, what the fuck's this guy?
Yeah.
Hey, maybe Byron from God Forbid's available.
Well,
we know he's available. But...
That's what I'd like to see. Well, and then, so who knows what's going to happen with that? And then there's the whole Iced Earth thing. How do you, I don't know. Where do you go on this deal?
See, it's like, that was my question when you brought it up. I'm like, how do you talk about that without it getting political? But at the same time, it's like, if anyone that's ever paid any attention to Iced Earth knows that even if you don't pay attention to the band members outside of the band, just lyrically or visually, even album covers, T-shirts, whatever, this band is extremely not politically minded, but what? Historically minded. And so this isn't a reach, especially if you've paid attention to John Schaefer in the past.
It's like I told you in there, he was on the Alex Jones show like 10, 12 years ago. So yeah, if you really know what's up, you know that it's these leanings were there in the first place. So
right, and see, it's like I don't know where to go here, but my thought that I brought up to you is like I was just kind of shocked because I've always took him as being pretty staunch, anti-government, whatever you want to call it, pro-America.
Right.
Which is what most people claim to be. But this guy was one of those people in the truest sense of like, not your fake, hillbilly Trump follower, I love America type stuff. I'm talking like the really true, like, I'm a historically minded person and I think America should be this way. I always took John Schaefer as being an extremely intelligent person.
Yeah.
And I don't take him as being I'm wrapped up in this whole Trump thing, so I'm going to go storm the Capitol with these people.
Right. Exactly.
So I would love to know the background, and I would love to hear from him, which we probably will, like, a long time from now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think you're right. It'll be a while. If the best thing he can do is stay out of the fucking public eye and keep his full fucking mouth shut. That's the best thing he can do right now. And here's one thing, since we're getting into this, fuck it. Here's something that I want, I want to make clear. I mean, for me anyways, I think you probably agree. Okay, I think one way, whatever, it's is what it is, doesn't matter. And, and people that were there that day think one way, and that's what that is, and it doesn't fucking matter. Nothing I can do about it, and there's nothing wrong with protesting and being peaceful about it and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's what this country's about. But when the group that, went into the Capitol and I'm, on top of all the bad things, the violence and the this and the that, they really just showed their fucking ass and showed how hypocritical they are, because they're all about Blue Lives Matter, and then they fought with the police, and then they vandalized and all this stuff. That shows the hypocrisy. So it's like, I put the people that invaded and were in the Capitol in a different group than just, protesters.
Yeah.
And so it's like if Schaefer was outside, just, listening to Trump, whatever, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm not going to get out of sorts about it. But, he was one of the dudes inside and, kind of causing all this. So we got a problem. I mean, for me, that's a problem. And it's like I told you earlier, even if that's what he really wanted to do, which obviously we know that is what he wanted to do, he should have thought, wow, I employ a lot of people with my band. I am known all around the world. Maybe I should just stay at home and watch it on TV and just kind of hope, it turns out the way I want it. I don't know. That's what I think. So
but if you believe in something,
see, and that's the other thing.
Career be damned, right?
Well, that's that was a discussion we had earlier. I mean, he obviously believes so much in this that he is gonna, because you think, I don't know, man, what do you think this will do to Iced Earth? Like, business wise, touring and, their draw and their sales and whatever.
I don't know. I think that's a good question, because I thought about that, and I think it's tough, because I think by the time we get to a point where touring is just regular, we're looking at a couple years anyway, probably. Yeah. So, and like with anything, time always helps. And right. I think there's always going to be people that are like, well, I'm not going to go see Iced Earth now because of this. But I think there's more people that are like you or I, that's like, I love the music. No one's forcing me to go. No one's forcing any belief upon me while I'm here, whether I agree with them or not. So I think there's enough fans that just disregard that stuff anyway. Yeah. And like I said earlier, anybody that's a fan of Iced Earth knew
that this was,
knows what kind of, at least, not to this extent as far as it being involved with Trump, but people know like what his views are in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I don't think it's going to hurt much in that sense. I mean, it might hurt him like as far as like if Metallica or someone was thinking about bringing him out on tour. Right. As far as getting on something major, maybe it'll hinder him, but I don't think in the long run, because Iced Earth's always been one of those bands that's flown under the radar. Yeah. And But like you said, they could pack a club in America anytime, or they can go to Europe and get thousands of people to show up.
Yeah.
You know?
So, and it's like, I don't know. It's like I told you, it's like, I guess you just have to do what's best for you, what you feel. I don't know. It's like, what am I gonna, I'm not gonna listen to horror show or dystopia anymore. I mean, I don't know. Those are such great fucking records, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, what am I not gonna listen to fucking Free For All
right.
by Ted Nugent, even though he's a fucking whack job? I don't know, man. I mean, it's just such a,
I think Luke Nagel said something similar. He's like, when am I supposed to not listen to something wicked this way?
Right. Because they're such great fucking records, man. And, as far as rhythm guitar players go, riff beasts, it's like James Hetfield, Scotty, and then John Schaefer. And it's like such a shame. And I don't, and it's weird because it used to not be a thing, but anymore, it's like, wow, if I listen to this guy, somebody might think I'm an asshole. So it's like, what do you do? What do you do? It's weird,
When people walk in my house now, do I take down that autograph poster?
Yeah, I fucking walked by it 1,000,000 times today. I didn't even realize it because I'm so used to it. Are you going to take that down now?
I don't have any plan to take it down.
I mean, I don't know. It's
maybe
weird.
if the government comes and forces me to.
Well, oh man.
By God.
From my cold, dead hand.
But the thing to point out, if there's anyone that's listening, the immediate response to this in a lot of situations is just kick him out and move on. So if you're not familiar enough with this band to know that that's not a possibility, this is like...
Yeah, and see, this is the other direction.
This is like if Dave Mustaine did something outlandish, the other three members of Megadeth can't get together and say, well, get this guy out of here.
Yeah.
Not just because he's the voice and the face of it, but because that's his band.
Yeah.
And this is the same exact thing. This is John Schaefer, the name, the logo, the trademark, the business, everything.
It's all him.
Is 100% him.
And it's great that the other four made a statement, but I mean, what are you going to do? What are you guys going to do?
I mean, they could go off and form their own band, but they can't call it Iced Earth.
Yeah, they can go do their own thing. They can't call it Iced Earth. So, just like, exactly. So.
They play their cards right, they could be in Megadeth in 2 years. Because they'll be on a turnover anyway. It'll be due time.
Right. God.
Well, I guess except for Stu Block. You can't take that.
Luke Appleton. I mean, I think Elson's there to stay.
That's true.
But it's just,
So what you said earlier does kind of play into it. It's like, sure, do what you feel is right, but at the same time, it's like he just affected 4 other dudes' lives.
See, and that's the thing. It's like, that's why I wish he would have just...
Plus anybody that's on their crew, so way more than 4, but...
Yeah. That's why I just wish he would have stayed home and watched it on TV. Probably Newsmax or OAN. But, like, because, not only has he affected him, but now all those people are out of a job. And it sucks. But, well, I don't know.
But then on the flip side of that, it's like, well, we're in a pandemic, so it's the perfect time for that to happen, because by the time touring comes back around
and look, they
can go back on tour and most of his crew will go with him,
just like the Bad Wolves conversation, we can all bring it back around to, well, it's a great time for it. It's a pandemic.
Right.
So that's us kind of breaking it down. You can, what happened last week was pure fucking stupidity and sadness, and the whole country has egg on their face because of it, and that's a whole other discussion, a whole other podcast. But we kind of wanted to break down those two scenarios a little bit because it's music, it's metal, so we touched on it. There we go.
And we've mentioned both bands repeatedly on here.
Oh man,
more so Iced Earth.
Yeah,
that's always been since the beginning. That's always been kind of one of my dream guests too.
Yeah, I know.
Was John Schaefer, which I assume now is not going to happen because if he does do stuff, it's going to be way limited and way bigger or higher reach than we are.
Yeah. Yep. Totally.
Yeah.
And if we had him on, there'd be people that would stop listening to us.
Oh, well, that's their problem. We can get Phil Labonte on to break down what John Schaefer did.
Oh my God.
Just to see what he thought.
Oh my God. Well, if you get John Schaefer on, that'll be one of those things where, like, you know, I got to work that day or something.
What the hell?
He brought this on me
Yep.
as we hit record. I wasn't gonna go in there, but Trent went in there and pulled it out, and that sounds weird. But anyways, we have the guy from Kreator on today. It's gonna be a great episode.
That's right. So should we just transition right into that then?
I think so. I think it's time.
Yeah. On a brighter note, Frederick Leclercq, better known to us as Fred, former longtime bass player of Dragon Force. In 2019, he left Dragon Force and joined Kreator, who is a longtime force in the thrash, heavy-ass metal world.
Right.
Continues to put out great music, and they should have something coming this year as well. Also, Fred just released an album here towards the end of 2020 with his brand new band called Amahiru, and that features members of Mary's Blood, Epica, and Fear Factory. So kind of a good cross-section of not just bands, but I think this is something he talks about in an interview, you know, people from all over the place. You know, he's from France, Saki's from Japan, drummers from America. Is Epica from Sweden, right?
Oh, I don't know.
I think Epica's from Sweden. So Amahiru, new album's out. Check that out. If you like stuff like Amaranth, you'll really dig this thing, I think. Metal mixed with electronic elements and all that kind of great stuff. But so, as you can tell by those names, Fred's pedigree kind of crosses the gamut here on styles of music. So we've got a lot to talk about, so let's jump into it.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Okay, so can I swear?
Oh,
Or-
yeah. No problem.
Oh, fuck yeah. All right, okay, that's cool. Right. No, that's good because sometimes, I mean, it's usually the US, you know, I have to be careful with. And even though I'm good, you know, the people that are not native English speakers tend to think that it's better to put fuck everywhere. So I'm not so bad. But, you know, there's a lot of, like, I remember going on tour with a German band, and they were like using fuck all the time, but like overdoing it, just like, hey man, let's have a fucking party, let's drink some fucking beers. And I'm like, you don't need to say fuck all the time, but I tend to say it every now and then. So
you think it's just a cultural thing, like it's just an adjective thrown in?
It's really what it is. I mean, the way I see it, it's because you want to sound cool, and if you happen, I guess, you know, the people I know, I spend time mostly as musicians, so you just learn English from those videos from, I don't know, Motley Crue or whatnot, and you know, and you think it's cool to add fuck here and there, so you just like, yeah, dude, it's fucking rad, it's fucking, and then you try to be extremely cool, but you end up not being very cool. So but I'll be careful.
Cool.
Not to say too many times. Yeah.
Your guys' debut album comes out here in a couple weeks. Like, what has the fan reaction been so far to the two singles?
It's been fucking great. No, it's been good. We released two videos. The first one was ours. Second one, WTTP, which stands for Welcome to the Party. And it's been great. I guess people didn't really know what to expect. Saki is known for two bands in Japan, Mary's Blood and Nemophila. And as far as I'm concerned, people probably expected me to do either, I don't know, some Dragon Force or some Kreator or Sinsanum. So I guess it's, people didn't know what to expect, and seems like the reactions are good so far. And we're dropping in another single tomorrow, featuring Ellis from Amaranth. So the third song, it's actually already out. I don't know when your podcast is going to be out, but right now we are the 12th of November, and the song is already out in Japan. So I was, before doing this interview, I was on Twitter checking the reactions, and my Japanese being as amazing as you can imagine. No, I use the translation button. It seems like people like it. So far, so good.
Japan kind of where you guys are pushing a lot of your efforts because she's in the band, or are you still just trying to make this a worldwide thing because of the band's multicultural?
As far as I'm concerned, I want this to be like everywhere, the music out everywhere. I guess I'm talking about Japan because, yes, indeed, Saki is Japanese, and that's where she's really known. And also the label is from Japan. So that's part of the reason why that there's a lot of effort is put in Japan, as opposed to usually other bands that I've been working with. Japan is, let's say, just another territory. But here, obviously, with this band, obviously Japan has a big, big role to play in what we're doing. But no, it's not just Japan, because I'm French, and the drummer is from the US, singer from the UK, and the keyboard player from the Netherlands. So international. So we hope for an international result.
Right. We'll kind of talk about, like, how did the whole formation of this band come about here in the last few years?
So I met Saki in Hong Kong when her band Mary's Blood was opening for my band at the time, Dragon Force, and we just met backstage, had a couple of drinks, and that was it. Then I went back to Japan a couple of months after, and there she was. I guess Herman put her on the guest list, or someone else. And I'm like, hey, you're the girl from Mary's Blood. Cool. And then we ended up, having drinks until 5 a.m. and talking. And so there was a good connection. And so obviously we knew, that both were playing music, but that was not like the topic of discussion was not like, hey, nice to meet you. Let's form a band together. So it was more like, getting to know each other. And I go to Japan very often, not only for music, but also vacation and to do promo. I mean, as much as I can, because I love Japan. And so every time I would go there, we'd make sure that I would let Saki know. And then I guess it just came naturally, in the conversation. Just wanted, just like, since we have so much in common, why don't we play music together? So that's what we did. And then her management got in touch with the Japanese label that I had been dealing with regarding Dragon Force and also Sinsanum. So I guess everything just went kind of quick from the moment Saki and I agreed on doing something or decided to do something, and then the next thing you know, we are in a meeting with the label and her management, and going like, okay, so who's going to play on the album, and what are you doing, and when can you deliver? So it went really quick, but that was also very exciting because we had to get the show on the road. So I just went through my list of people that I like and that can play music, and I got in touch with Kuhn from Epica for the keyboards. On the drums, originally was supposed to be Sean Reinert, but he couldn't commit to the whole thing because at the time he was moving houses, so he recorded just the one song, and then he was like, I'm sorry, but with the schedule that you guys have, I don't think I will be able to carry on because I'm moving houses right now. I need to build my new home studio, and you guys, so this is not going to work, but I've sent you one song. If you want to use it, please use it. So the plan was to use Sean Reinert's version of the song, Bringing Me Down, as a bonus. And unfortunately, Sean passed away earlier this year, and I felt it was more appropriate or more not to use that as a bonus, but just to have it on every versions of the album as a tribute to him, and I also dedicate the album to him. So that's what we did. So that's why you have two versions of that song on the album. And so as a replacement, I asked my friend Mike Heller, who plays with Fear Factory and Raven. And for the vocals, I got in touch with Archie Wilson, who's maybe the less known of the whole lot, but he deserves to be very known because he's one of the main one of the main reason why I think the band sounds so good, because he's got an amazing voice, and he's just amazing. I don't know, what do you think? Do you like his voice?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I love it. That was kind of one of my questions. Like, I wasn't really familiar with him, and like how you came in contact with him, because that voice is really strong, and it really adds to what you guys are doing with the melodic feel.
It does totally, because so we met through a mutual friends, because again, like I said, because I do music, and I've been doing that for a while now.
Yeah.
I tend to end up meeting a lot of musicians, and what's important for me, and it was the same with my, I have a death metal band called Sinsanum, and Joey Jordison, ex-Slipknot, is on drums, and the reason why we're playing together is first and foremost because we are friends, and it's not just like meeting people, or not rather asking someone because he's famous and I've never met the person before, but that could happen. I could go through, managements and labels and asking, but I don't see the point. So what I'm doing is like doing it with people that I like on a human level, not just great musicians, but when they happen to be nice and to be great musicians, then perfect. And yeah, so Archie, I guess when we had that discussion with the management and the label back in Japan, one of the, I don't think it came from me, but someone said, why don't you guys have Mark from Dragon Force on vocals? And I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. And obviously I know him. He's a good friend, and that would be very easy to work with him. And I'm sure he would like the kind of music that we intended to do, which was not power metal, rather, heavy metal, hard rock, whatever you want to call what we're doing, but then we can talk about it after. And so the more we were working on the songs, the more I was like, this is not going to work with Mark. So I was very confident about what we were writing musically, but I guess I was just like sort of worried that the vocals would not be, or something was missing, And then one night, I was in Tokyo. One night I just, ding, wow, Archie, yeah, why didn't I think of him before? Okay, let me, so I just sent him a text. I'm in Japan. I'm working on this band. Would you be interested in trying out? Cause I think your voice would fit. And he sent me the song the day after, and we were blown away. And we were just like, okay, now everything makes perfect sense because his vocals are just so powerful. It makes all the songs, it was the missing ingredient to make the whole thing, so organic and solid and whatnot. And yeah, he's got a great voice, very melodic, he can be very aggressive. He's got a great sense of harmony and rhythm. And he's got, it's vocals with bold and energy, and I think that's great. Definitely adds a lot to our music.
Yeah. Well, kind of like you mentioned with the hard rock element, this is kind of the first project you've been involved with that kind of has a little bit of that, right? Like kind of leans, it's still metal, but it leans hard rock at times.
Yeah. I guess, that's the kind of music I really like. And, I've been trying, since I started writing songs with Dragon Force, I've been trying to go towards that direction. But there's so much you can do when the band is called Dragon Force and, has a career. So people expect certain things from you, people label, and also the other musician. I was not alone in Dragon Force, writing music. So you have all those limitations, but I guess if people listening to this podcast are familiar with Dragon Force, maybe the album Reaching into Infinity is the closest to Amahiru they could hear, because this is the least Dragon Force album. Because I was trying to get away from that power metal genre, so I was trying to add all the stuff that I like. Because Reaching into Infinity, I wrote like 70% of the album, so there's a lot of me. And me not being a big fan of power metal to begin with, I was trying to put a lot of more traditional hard rock or heavy metal, thrash, a bit of prog and whatnot. And so Amahiru was, in that sense, very, a great sense of freedom, because there's no expectations. It's a first band. No one is waiting for you. So you don't have to answer to anyone. So it was just like, total freedom. So yeah, there's definitely, elements, of hard rock and all the stuff that I was not, that it wasn't possible for me to do before.
Did you write the majority of the music on this album, the Amahiru? Excuse me. I try to pronounce that. I keep saying it wrong. Is it Amahiru?
Amahiru, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Doesn't mean anything. Just it's coming from a dream I had. So it doesn't matter if you say Amahiru, it's fine.
Right.
Everything goes. What was the question again?
Did you write the majority of the music on the album yourself, or did you guys co-write?
We co-wrote. Okay. The way it happened, it was Saki was also working on a new album for Mary's Blood, so she was sending me ideas, but I was like sending way more, and so the balance wasn't really there, and I was like, I feel it could work that way, but I really would like her to feel involved in every as much as I am in all the songs. So what happened was, I flew to Japan and I spent 3 weeks with her in a studio, working 8 hours a day on all the songs that we both wrote. So at the end of the day, if you look in the booklet, I probably end up writing more stuff than she did. And I was also producing the album. So I had a bit more to do, but it doesn't really matter because all the songs, we finalized them together. So it was really like music was written by Saki and myself, vocals Archie and myself, and then all the arrangements. So like I said, I was taking care of the production, but I also gave a lot of freedom to Koen and Mike, because there was no point just telling them, when you've got like such talented musicians, there's no point just telling them you have to do this and that, and that's all you have to do, and blah, blah, blah. So there were like some guidance here and there, but I also let them express themselves, which is why, again, the album sounds so organic and everybody really enjoyed doing it, because there was that sense of freedom and everybody could contribute to make things sound the way they sound now.
Do you think, even though it's a relatively new partnership between all of you guys, do you feel like the writing chemistry was pretty natural?
Yes, totally. And I think it shows. I mean, I think you can hear on the album, everything, to me at least, I don't know, but it sounds very fluid, and there was no, at least, Saki and I, we were definitely on the same path. We had the same vision, and the other guys just clicked instantly. So it was very natural and even surprisingly very easy. Obviously, there's always like moments of stress when you work on an album, but it was relatively easy, and it was definitely a pleasant experience. And I really can't wait to work on the second album, which we will somehow.
I think I'd read that. Didn't you guys record this in 2019?
Yes, correct.
So was it hard? Like, was it kind of agonizing waiting this long to get this put out?
Exactly. It was. I guess we had to, because there were like certain things that needed to, I guess, the fact that I changed career with from Dragon Force to Kreator, that was one thing. So I had to prioritize that, change. And then we had to do the COVID just came here, so everything got like little, postponed and whatnot. But it's difficult because I'm talking about something that we finished. We mixed it in Sweden in June 2019. So, I could easily be sort of jaded by now and go like, oh, I can't remember, because a lot of things happened since then, but I'm still super enthusiastic about the album because I'm definitely not tired of it, which is a good sign. And I still listen to it and I'm like, this is great. And I really, so yeah, it was a little hard, to not be able to share it with people, but I'm glad it's happening now. There's no point moaning about it, being positive. And yeah, the album is out or about to be out, and that's cool.
Well, once the COVID stuff kind of dies down and people are able to tour again, are you guys planning to tour with this project, or is it going to be more of a studio thing, or have you talked about that yet?
The plan was to do shows, well, like you said, because of the COVID, everything went to shit. Last time I was in Japan, it was in February this year. And I was talking with Saki about because we wanted to release the album in June and or during the summer, because I thought the vibe of the album was like something that you need to release in the summer, it's party time, which in a way an album like this coming out right now, because everything is like pretty grim and it's winter and it's the COVID situation and everybody's like sort of down. I think it's also good to release like a sort of feel good, positive album in such dark times. So it's actually okay too, depend. Just always look at the bright side. But originally, yes, it was supposed to be released summertime, and we wanted to do some shows. I remember talking about doing some shows in France, because I was supposed to do some festivals with one of my bands, Loud Blast. We were supposed to do Hellfest, among other festivals. And I remember telling Saki, in case we can't really have everybody on board, why don't we just you, Archie, and me do some acoustic shows? And it's the summer and it's nice, and it could like show another aspect of the band, and that'd be really cool. So we were just like making all those plans. And we're also supposed to do some shows in Japan, actually right now in November. And, so now everything is postponed, but, at the same time, I mean, life goes on because I do have all the bands I have to take care of. So we want to do shows, that's for sure, but it's very hard to say when, because by the time COVID is done, or at least there's a vaccine, or at least we can do shows, it will be time for me to go on the road with Kreator. I hope that a new Sinsanum will be out as well, so I will need to do that as well. So, I don't know when it's gonna happen, but to make a long story short, yes, we wanna do shows, and we wanna make more albums, and I need this band because I need to have a balance artistically in my life. When I was only doing Dragon Force, I needed to have my death metal band Sinsanum out. And the reason was because I needed like a balance. People knew me for one side of my personality, happy music, power metal, la la la, smiling. But I'm also, I like aggressive music, evil stuff and whatnot. So Sinsanum was very necessary to me. And now I guess the balance is different because I have Kreator, Sinsanum, and Loud Blast, and it's a thrash and death metal bands. So I need Amahiru in my life artistically, so that I can express myself in that way, positive and melodic and whatnot. So yeah, we will do shows, and we will release more albums.
Kind of speaking on what you were just talking about with all your projects, do you ever get overwhelmed thinking about everything you got going on, or it's kind of balanced, I guess, where one thing's not happening while the other one is, but does it ever get overwhelming at all?
Much. A little when you think about it too much, which I try not to. It's okay. I mean, so far so good. I still manage. I always manage to get lucky, possibly. I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. Sometimes it's a little Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You know, when you because right now I'm doing interviews with you. An interview with you about Amahiru right before I was working on Sinsanum, and this morning I was sending some stuff to Miller from Kreator. So I guess, you know, within the same day you go like tick, 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 tick. But it's fine, and it's fine, and in a way it never gets boring because, you know, I've got a lot to play around with. So it's cool.
Yeah. Well, kind of on that same kind of subject, when you think of all the different types of music you've been involved with, whether all the types of metal like black metal, death metal, power metal, heavy metal, like what's your kind of go-to as far as just as a fan? Like if you're going to listen to metal, is it, because you kind of mentioned earlier you like hard rock, you're wearing a Morbid Angel shirt, so like what's your go-to? Are you kind of across the board just like your bands are?
Yeah, it really depends on the mood. I mean, also because I do a lot of heavy metal as a musician and to go on tour. And when you go on tour, not only do you play metal, but you hear the opening band playing metal, and in between bands there's a lot of metal, and then after the show there's a party. People are listening to metal. Yes. So when I go home, I tend to kind of, you know, switch off for a little while. So it depends. I mean, on my vinyl player downstairs, there's a Point of Entry from Judas Priest. But yesterday I was listening to Billy Joel. Indeed, I received a package from a dear friend of mine from the US with a lot of Morbid Angel shirts. Morbid Angel is one of my favorite bands ever. So I do need my fix of Morbid Angel, say at least, I don't know, a month. I don't know. I mean, the only thing I will not listen to very often is actually power metal. That's the kind that I don't really enjoy as much as the others, possibly. Also new metal, not so much. It depends. It really depends on the mood and whatnot. I'm very open-minded, and I guess it's necessary when you're a musician. I think you have to be open-minded. So I've got my preferences, but it really depends. And to be fair, right now I think I will listen to Billy Joel again when I'm done with the interview. So
good, Bill. You spoke about joining Kreator last year. Like, what was it like stepping into a band that had, you know, 2 original members and another member that's been there for a long time, kind of as the new guy? Was it like, were they completely open with your ideas and everything when it's coming to this new album, or how's that going?
Well, I mean, I was pretty nervous, to be honest, when I first went for the when I went to the rehearsal room for the first time, you know, and because I was just like, okay, I'm definitely the new guy. Sammy's been here for, like you said, you know, 20 years, and Miller and Ventor since the beginning with a little, you know, whatever. But so I was, you know, it was very exciting, but at the same time a little, you know, scary. Just like, is he gonna be okay? Because I knew Miller for sure. I've known him for actually almost 20 years. But is he gonna be okay with the other guys? Are they gonna let me in, or maybe they're gonna, I don't know, maybe they're gonna miss the other guy and I'm gonna suffer, you know, like Jason Newsted with Cliff Burton, you know, kind of thing. I don't know. I had no idea. So I was going there like, I mean, we played the first 2 songs, so it was Violent Revolution, and then we went into Extreme Aggression, and it felt like I'd been in the band for a long time, and they were just like, everybody was really happy. So that was just like, oof, okay, that's cool, that's all right. And then a couple of days after, I was at a party, you know, that Ventor threw, and we were just talking as if we knew each other for forever. So on a human level, this is awesome, and on a artistic level, it's great as well, because I kind of warned them before. I said, when it comes to writing music or throwing ideas, I get very enthusiastic and I'm very, I tend to go like, yeah, this is how it works and whatnot. Not that I like to be a dictator and going like, but it's just that I feel very, very, confident when it comes to music. And so, I was afraid that maybe it would be annoying for them, or also they would tell me just like, you calm down, new guy, you shut up. But I guess they're very, asking me, so what do you think? Or, they definitely open the door. So it doesn't feel like, obviously, when I think of it, when I try to analyze the situation, I'm still the new guy, and that's fine. But it's definitely not how it feels. We are definitely like a family, and they don't make me feel like I'm the new person or whatnot. And it's also very refreshing for them, I think, because it always is when there's new blood, in a band. And we're all very excited. So we worked on new songs the whole summer. So July, August, September, and October. I went to Germany 2 weeks. So I was 2 weeks in Germany rehearsing, 2 weeks in France packing stuff because we were moving houses with my wife. So that's how I spent my summer. And it's great. And it sounds good. I'm throwing ideas. We're arranging the songs together, and we're very excited. Again, I'm very excited for people to listen to it. But I'm getting used of waiting until people can listen to my stuff. So it's.
So was that all writing time, or are you guys already recording, or is that not is recording like coming next year?
It's just writing and arranging. Yeah. We're taking our time because right now everything is, flat, and it's right. Very hard to protect yourself in terms of the good thing with Amahiru is that it's not a big machine. It's just starting. So the fact that we're releasing an album and there's no tour after, it's not so bad. But for a machine like Kreator, you kind of need to, it needs to roll all the time. So you release an album and then you go on tour and whatnot. Otherwise, there's no real point, The good thing for us is that right now we are in that part of the curve when we were supposed to not really tour or do any gigs and work on the album. So I want to say that the COVID is just not hurting us too much. We only had to postpone a European tour and some shows. Like there should have been a festival. We were supposed to headline a festival in Mexico maybe 2 weeks ago or something, or actually maybe now, maybe I don't know, maybe it was November. But that's about it. So it's still okay for us. And that's why we're taking our time, and we just want to make sure that this new album is going to be great, awesome, and then we want to release it when we see clearer. Because right now, no one can. So,
were you involved with the writing of 666 World Divided, or was that something that was already written before you got there?
It was written. It was written. I mean, Miller is still the main guy composing most of the stuff.
Right.
Really. So. And it, being the new guy, as much as when it comes about arranging stuff and we are in the room, I go like this and that, but I cannot also take the piece and go like, and these are my songs. That's what we're going to play right now. So, I'm taking my time, but, I arranged that, bass part in the middle, and we arranged some, harmonies here and there, but the song was already, written mostly by Miller. Yeah.
Okay. Well, kind of outside of everything you've been working on for this new album and working with Kreator, like how have you been spending your personal time during the downtime of the pandemic, not being able to tour?
Let's see. So the pandemic happened in March. I had to. Okay, that's going to be the sad part of the interview. My father passed away a month ago.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
Yep, thanks. In March, actually, or it was in April, he had like a cancer striking again. So I went back I went to spend some time with him, and he had surgery. So that was a bit like, obviously worrying, and we were just like monitoring, making sure that everything was okay. So it sort of kept me busy. Then I went back home. What did we do? Planning on moving houses. So then the summer came, and like I said, it was 2 weeks in Germany, 2 weeks in France packing, and it goes really, really quick. So by the time, one day you're beginning of July, and the next you're mid September, and you're in your new house. And I did videos for Loud Blast as well, still writing material for Sinsenum. Like I said, I went to Germany again beginning of October. Then my father unfortunately passed away, so I had to go back to my hometown, spend time with my mother, and then came here to my new house, get used to all the switches, and building, building furniture, rather buying furniture and screwing, a few things.
Yeah.
And trying to to cope with what's happening in my life right now. And now finally doing promo for Amahiru, which is a good thing because I, as much as everybody else or even more, I need a lot of positivity in my life right now. So talking about positive music is a good way to be positive.
Yeah. Well, kind of a total random subject change. I saw on your Twitter a couple of days ago, you posted a picture of you wearing that Razor Ramon t-shirt. Are you actually a fan of old school wrestling? Because I'm a big fan.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. I remember when I was a kid, watching that, discovering wrestling for the first time, and it was, who was there? Big Boss Man and Bret Hart and Sergeant Slaughter, Hulk Hogan. So I was really into it maybe for a few months, and then it disappeared. And then I just discovered something else. When you're a kid, you just discover things like wow. And then it disappeared, and then it came back a few years after. I guess it was around 93 probably. When The Undertaker was there, and Yokozuna, and Razor Ramon, Heartbreak Kid, all of that. So I was back into it, and then again it just disappeared, and then until recently, I just got basically when I met my wife, and she was like, she was telling me, I like watching wrestling. It's fun because the people commenting in France are actually really funny as well. So she was like watching them, like, you wrestling? Yeah, I used to watch it when I was a kid. Okay, let's have a look. And then I went back into it, so much to the point that and I'm parallel to that, I'm friend with Chris Jericho because he plays in a band called Fozzy, and we did some gigs together. So that's cool, of course. And also Saki is a big fan of wrestling, by the way. Okay. And anyway, I got to meet a friend who works in the production of WWE. So he got me some tickets to go and see them when they were in Paris, and I got to hang with Baron Corbin.
Okay.
And Seth Rollins, and that was really cool. I was just like, wow. So yeah, I do like a bit of wrestling. It's fun.
Yeah.
And a thing about wrestling is that I used to be like that. I was just like, it's fake. It's not, blah blah blah. But okay, everybody knows it's fake, and they have stories and blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, it's just the same as watching a movie, except it's even better because they do it in front of you, and they have only one take. So it's like, more impressive than a movie when you have like 200 takes of The Rock jumping. I'm saying The Rock, but jumping from a building and okay, do it again. So I don't see the point unless people that are saying, it's fake, never go to cinema or don't watch TV. Then okay, fine. But otherwise, I think you just have to admit that this is actually, it's fun. And it's amazing. I was going to say artists. Well, yeah, they're amazing artists and very sportive persons.
Yeah.
Sportive. Yeah. Athletes. That's the word I was looking for.
When music, hard rock and metal have always been pretty relevant in wrestling as well. So,
Yes.
It'd be good to get, one of your new songs on there, push,
I mean, yes, I don't know who to ask really, but I think Welcome to the Party could be a good, but I don't know, I'm not, I would need to know whose character would come on stage and welcome to the party. But it could work. I think someone mentioned it somewhere was it on my Instagram or something? I was just yeah, this is a good idea, but that's as far as I can go. So I don't know if someone is listening to this podcast and has a way to give the song to someone, maybe I could ask, I don't know, maybe I should ask Chris, but Chris is with the AEW, right?
Right.
Yeah, which I haven't watched that yet. I don't know how that is. Is it better?
A lot of people say it is. I've kind of watched it here and there. So I'm not fully into it yet to really be able to say if it's better or not, but I like what I've seen.
All I've seen was just those things that he's posting. It is cracking me up all the time. Le champion, everything. So I think this is amazing. So only for that, but I don't think it's available. I mean, where we live right now, it's the middle of nowhere. So I'm glad that you can hear me because the internet connection is really bad. The TV connection is crappy, but I need to dig into that and see if we can get the AEW here in France.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, I appreciate you taking the time with me today. I really love the new album and looking forward to what you're doing with Kreator next year as well, and the new Sensanium as well. So,
yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for your time, and thanks for liking not that you're doing it just for me, but thanks for liking the album. Thank you for your time, and speak to you whenever, with another band and whatnot. I'd be happy to.
There you go, Fred Leclercq, Kreator, Amahiru, Sensanium, Dragon Force. A huge thank you to Tim from Atom Splitter PR for his help with that one, and of course a massive thank you to Fred for taking some time out there to talk about all those bands I just mentioned, and even some wrestling.
Oh,
got some.
She loved that.
Yeah, got some wrestling talk in there as well, and all kinds of great stuff. So if you have not, check out some.
Who's his favorite wrestler? Was it the Bordeaux Strangler? I don't know. That's how in touch I am with wrestling. Fuck me.
I'm trying to remember. Something I didn't mention beforehand was. Because we've been mentioning this one's coming now for a while. We got so behind. This one is actually recorded almost exactly 2 months ago, mid-November. And I remember I brought it up only because I'd seen him within the past few days of that point on Twitter wearing a Razor Ramon shirt. And so I brought it up and talked about that and a few other things. And I said, and I remember him saying, if anybody's got a connection to AEW or WWE, then put in a word to get their music
right
somehow included on something. So you got to, what's that thing that Jost always says, that making that wrestling money,
right
getting your song synced on something,
getting the wrestling check.
But so if you haven't checked out Amahiru or even the newest Kreator song that came out, includes Fred on that. And then, of course, every Dragon Force album you can find, he was a part of, and a heavy part of writing as well. Sensanium, if you like your shit heavy as fuck. And all this stuff's great, so it's really cool to have Fred on here. And if this is your first time listening, we've had some other guys from some, in that thrash world, a couple guys from Megadeth. Actually, 3 different guys that have been in Megadeth, including David Elfson, James Lomenzo, Chris Broderick. We've also had on Alex Skolnick of Testament, Ted Aguilar of Death Angel. We've had on guys from Seven Dust, Crowbar, Life of Agony, Typo Negative. More recently, we've had on guys from Devil Driver, Helmet, John Karabi. We even had on Matthew Nelson. Had to flip it up there for a second.
He totally went the other way.
But yeah, Nat Rome. We've had on guys from Winger, Warrant, Tesla, Great White. We've had on Gene Simmons of Kiss, Bruce Kulick, formerly of Kiss, Dizzy Reed of Guns N' Roses, and the list is long and fruitful. We've had on a member of Bad Wolves as well. That wasn't Tommy Vex. We had on Doc Coyle.
Yes.
Doc Coyle has a great podcast called the X-Man Podcast, and Tommy Vex might be the next guest.
Oh my God, you couldn't not do that, could you? You had to do it.
He's now the X-Man from Bad Wolves, so why not? But then again, Bad Wolves in its entirety is ex-members of other bands. So
pretty much.
So it'll be interesting to see what they do, and hopefully Jason's right that new God Forbid is coming soon.
That's my prediction. If you pay attention to your social medias, I think that I'm thinking it's probably like some kind of live stream or something, but
yeah,
or maybe they just did a song or whatever, but I think something's happening. And they always kind of alluded to maybe it might, so you never know.
Yeah, and it's due time.
Right.
Yeah. So probably the band from that whole scene of new wave of American heavy metal bands that didn't get the just due. I mean, all of them. I don't think Shadows Fall definitely, but Shadows Fall still got a little bit more of a bump up there than God Forbid did, I feel.
And God Forbid should have been, yeah. We got to see them a couple times. They're great.
Yeah, absolutely. So check them out if you have not. All right, check us out too, thethunderunderground.com. Follow our socials there. Click on all those. Get on YouTube at The Thunder Underground. Subscribe there. We've got a bunch of videos where we review stuff like the new Hatebreed, the new Napalm Death, the Metallica Blu-ray, August Burns Red, some other stuff's on there. So get on there and subscribe to that. Wherever you listen to podcasts, subscribe to us there so you don't miss any future ones. You can find us pretty much everywhere. And yeah, I think that covers it for another one. Once again, a huge thank you to Fred Leclercq, Adam Splitter PR, Med Farm, DEB Concerts, Sunset Tattoo, and Hella Hot Hot Sauce. And until next time.
Thunder Underground, y'all.